June 11, 1997, Salt Lake City, Utah. The Delta Center is shaking. The NBA Finals are tied 2-2. This is the moment where legends are forged or forgotten. But in the Chicago Bulls locker room, the greatest player on the planet can't even sit upright. This is the story of the flu game. The nightmare began at 2 a.m. Michael Jordan woke up in his hotel room in a cold sweat. He was shaking and nauseous. He called his personal trainer, Tim Grover. When Grover arrived, he found MJ curled in a fetal position. The diagnosis? Some called it the flu. Jordan's camp called it food poisoning from a late-night pizza. Whatever it was, the reality was grim. Michael Jordan was physically broken. By the time tip-off approached, the news had leaked. Jordan was questionable. He hadn't attended shoot-around. He spent the entire day in a darkened room, unable to eat, hooked up to an IV just to stay hydrated. When he finally emerged from the tunnel, he didn't look like Air Jordan. He looked like a ghost. His skin was pale and his eyes were sunken. He was drenched in sweat before the clock even started. The first quarter was a disaster. The Utah Jazz smelled blood. They jumped out to a 16-point lead. Jordan was a step slow. He was hunched over during every whistle, head down, gasping for air. It looked like the Bulls dynasty was finally hitting a wall it couldn't climb. But then, something shifted. In the second quarter, the flu-like symptoms met the Jordan-like willpower. MJ started hitting. A jumper here, a drive there. He scored 17 points in that quarter alone. He wasn't playing with his usual explosive athleticism. He was playing with pure, unadulterated instinct. By halftime, the Bulls had clawed back to within 4, but the energy was a facade. As soon as the buzzer rang, Jordan collapsed. He spent the third quarter in a fog, barely scoring as the Jazz pushed the lead back up. Entering the fourth, the Bulls were down 77-69. Jordan was at the end of his rope. During timeouts, teammates would literally have to help him stand up. He was wrapped in ice towels. Phil Jackson looked at him, wondering if he should even be out there. But MJ gave the nod. With 7 minutes left, the Bulls were still trailing. Then, the transformation happened. Jordan scored a layup, then a jumper, then he started drawing fouls, ice cold at the free throw line. With under a minute to go and the game tied at 85, the Jazz doubled Jordan. He kicked it to Scottie Pippen. Pippen drew the defense and zipped it back to Michael at the top of the key. Jordan took the shot. Swish. Bulls 88, Jazz 85. Utah had one last chance, but they fumbled it. The Bulls walked away with a 90-88 victory. Then came the image that defined a generation. As the final horn sounded, Jordan didn't pump his fist. He didn't celebrate. He began to collapse. Scottie Pippen caught him, slinging Jordan's arm over his shoulder and literally carrying his brother off the floor. The stats were impossible. 38 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 44 minutes of play, all while his body was trying to shut down. 2 days later, the Bulls finished the job in Chicago, securing their 5th title. But Game 5 was where the championship was won. Was it the flu? Was it a poisoned pizza? Was it altitude sickness? In the end, the medical diagnosis doesn't matter. What matters is that on a night when Michael Jordan had every excuse to fail, he chose to be immortal. The flu game wasn't just about basketball. It was a 48-minute masterclass in what happens when the human will refuses to lose.